Expertise. Now, I'm not saying they actually are an expert because that's all opinion, but they are perceived to be an expert, like in their space. Seth Godin's an expert in his space. Steve Jobs is an expert in his space. Oprah Winfrey, is she an expert on what good books are? I don't know. I mean, people perceive her as being an expert. I mean, probably to her market, she's the only person that reads. And so that's why she must be, if Oprah read it, it must be good, right? Bad joke to have one.
People reading them.
Huh?
I think she has people reading books.
Who knows? I'll tell you, the one thing that she does is she does not sell out, because that's one of the other thing about a maven is their opinion is not for sale. And so even if what I've watched her do over time is the reason O Magazine came up, or the reason that she's got such a powerful following, is that she was making all this influence on these people becoming millionaires, and she started this magazine to say, hey, I'm going to leverage this. You don't think the sales manager of O Magazine goes and calls on the people that were just on the show and said, hey, you just got the benefit, now advertise with her and leverage that to a full degree, because we gave you a bunch of free PR, right? So anyways, they have the ability to influence through people they don't even know, or to people they don't even know. And if you are networking, you really want to spend your time acquiring these. These people, unless they'll convert from here to there, and you can train them to do that, they're not worth as much to you in your network as these people. In fact, 1 or 2 good connectors can be worth 100 salespeople because of the way they move information. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so what you should be doing right now is you should be saying who in my network is a maven, and then how often do I talk to them, and what is my value to them. And in knowing what my value to them is, how do I become exclusive in my space so they're referring me as their resource, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look at what Chris did with the home improvement business. I mean, he basically, I'm a maven, and he came on, and and you started, 2 weeks, and I said, hey, let's make a couple phone calls and see if we can get you some business, right? And you got a phone, we called on Fields, and you got a deck, and Dan led to other people, and blah, 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 right? So you made a couple key connections to the connectors and the mavens, and his business was going. So you have to assess your network and know where the information is going to come. Who's going to be good for you and who's not going to be good for you. Because it really is just like any other asset. So how many mavens do you have in your network right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So one of the things that I would do is I would understand, I would kind of do a network analysis, and I'd see where the players are that I really should be expecting and drawing resources on. Now, what would you say your niche is?
I think my niche would be solopreneurs or small entrepreneurs with small staff that do really well at what they do, but they don't grow their business very much.
Okay. Okay. So there's 66,000 businesses in Greater Indianapolis Metro. How many did you think you just cut that down to?
Probably 27,000.
I bet it'd be closer to 60.
Oh, okay, 60,000.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So does anybody know a solo entrepreneur or a small business that has a small staff that's not growing the way they want to?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that like everybody?
Yeah.
People
Pretty generic.
People named Chris.
Yeah.
No. We don't have a staff yet, but Kim Brand, I got a dozen of them in my head.
Okay, so honestly, you have not cut your niche down. Okay, now let's really talk about the mathematical problem you just presented.
Right.
Let's say you were right and you got it down to 27,000.
Okay.
Now there are 66,000 businesses and you got it down to 27,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we got Jackie, right? Who's going out there and he's effectively taking let's say you're going to take 25% of your marketing budget and spend it to acquire the next dollar.
Okay.
So what is 25% of 80,000? It's 20,000, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to spend $20,000 and you're going to try to influence 27,000 people.
Less than $1 a person.
It's less than $1 a person. So let's say it's like 70 cents, right?
Okay.
Roughly.
Yeah.
How many relationships are you going to grow spending 70 cents a piece per person?
Not
How serious is it going to look that you want a relationship with them?
That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
No, right?
No.
Let's say I'm in your business and I say, you know what? I'm going to go after dental offices that have 1 to 5 partners and staffs of 5 to 25. We did the math, and there's only 660 of those in Indiana, or greater Indianapolis, right? And I'm spending my $20,000, and I'm going to go after 660. What's 660 divided by
About 300 or something, probably.
20,000?
$30.
Go for it.
30? So $30, okay? Now, I'm spending $30 to get a date, and you're spending 70 cents to get a date. Who's going to get the date?
Or let's not get lucky and find some cheap ones.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what happens. The worst thing that happens to people when they don't pick a niche is they get lucky by using some kind of broadcast marketing
And they think they're good.
and they think they're in it. That's the worst thing that happens. That bankrupts more companies than the other. Then that bankrupts more companies than them not spending the money, realizing it was a dumb strategy, and then doing it and then not doing it again. Do you know what I'm saying? At least they learn and they start changing their thing. So this is not choosing a niche has nothing whatsoever to do with what you're good at. That's the hardest thing for me to get in, and really for small businesses to understand. It has nothing to do with what you're good at. It is all about resource allocation. It's that you have limited time, energy, and money, right?
Right.
Let's call it TEM, right?
Right.
You have limited time, energy, and money, and you're using this to put force on the marketplace going down, okay? And here's what you do. This is the big thing called the marketplace, right? If I had one thing I would just beat into every single rainmaker's head. I don't care if they ever network or whatever. If I could get them to understand this, there'd be a lot more businesses making to the next level. Because this is called the law of the niche. So they got this time, energy, and money that they're putting and forcing down on the marketplace, right? And what do? Small businesses, we just throw you know what on the wall and we see what sticks, right? So here we are. We're putting our time, energy, and money on the marketplace. Yo. Hope this works. Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Right.
How many touches, Chris, do you have to have on?
7.
7 to 10, right? You guys heard that in school? It takes about 7 to 10 touches to create a relationship. No? You heard that at all? No. So most, the general rule, it takes about 7 to 10 touches to create a relationship in business. Okay. So this is the point where sales have happened. And how many of these have actually stacked up to get through? Like 1 or 2, right? So we've only got 1 or 2 stacked up to get through to create enough touches.
Right.
And what we're doing when we say law of the niche is we're saying, look, pick a sliver of the marketplace and then stack all your touches, all your time, energy, and money on this thing called the niche. Same amount of dots. My penetration is multiplied exponentially because I am compressing cycle. What I'm doing is I am selling more faster because I'm creating more touches on a smaller data set. And because I'm doing that, I'm creating compression of cycle, my sales cycle, because I'm allocating my resources more effectively. I'm spending $30 on an individual rather than 70 cents on an individual, going back to your original model. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And because we're doing that, we're creating sales faster. What happens when you create sales faster?
More profit.
You get more profit. What can you do with more profit?
Reach more people.
Make more people.
You can actually use this, and you can use this to reach more people. If you take it and you go back in the niche, and one of the things I tell people is don't give up on your niche until you're number 1. Because number 1 in a marketplace is usually 30% more profitable than number 2.